Network Interference is produced and distributed by Lunavox. Lunavox, that's the name we came up with. Please stand by.
Welcome to Network Interference. My name is Shane, and I'm joined, as usual, by my daughter,
Marlowe.
Marlowe, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to be talking about video cassettes and video stores.
Video cassettes and video stores.
Yeah.
I used to love going to the video stores when I was a youngster. You can't do that anymore.
No, you can't. There's only maybe one left in the world.
Well, there's one video store left
actually.
in the whole world, right?
Yeah, maybe not video stores, but the big one, Blockbuster.
Oh, Blockbuster. There's only one left. That's right. Marlowe, do you remember going to the video stores and Blockbuster when you were a kid?
I do remember. I remember just adopting a cat and bringing it into the video store with me and carrying it like a little baby.
Right.
And picking out a movie while I carried a little kitten in my arms.
Emotional support.
Yeah, very sweet.
Animal. That's right. Very
and they
good.
didn't care at all. They loved it. They just thought I was some girl with the cat. So Blockbuster was okay with it.
Well, you've always been more than just a girl with a cat to me, I promise you. You don't remember this because this was before you were born, but your nanny had a video store in the Smoky Mountains for a little while.
That's so cool.
She sure did. And I really spent a lot of time at the video stores when I was a teenager.
Don't we have a friend who used to work at a video store?
We sure do. It's Ben. Get Ben on the phone right now.
Okay, let's call him.
Hello, Ben.
Hi.
Hey, Shane, what's going on?
Man, it's Shane and Marlowe. We're both here.
Oh, hi, Marlowe.
Hi.
Hey.
How's it going with you?
I can't complain at all, buddy.
Well, good, because no one would give a flip if you did.
Is that how it goes?
I think so. Something like that.
They do not care, sir.
They really don't. Marlowe, you should always remember that. They do not care. Hey, Ben, we're recording a podcast today on Network Interference. We are talking about video cassettes and video stores, and we remember that you used to work at a video store back in the olden days.
Yes, back in the 1800s when we brought our wagons across the west.
That's right.
Yeah, man, I actually did, brother. I for some time managed a video store for about 3 or 4 years.
Was it
That's
one
so
of
cool.
those big fancy video stores, big franchise, or was it a local store?
We really couldn't have been any more mom and pop. It was my buddy opened up a store. He came to me and he said, Ben, I've got this idea for a store. He said he was going to get people to give him 2 or 3 games for a new game. And I thought, well, that's never going to work. And then he made a living doing just that. But it couldn't have been any more mom and pop, little hole in the wall. We rented a little business in a strip mall. And it was fantastic.
That's so fun.
Your store and thousands of stores like it became part of the community.
Sure.
And people would have date nights and they would come into the video store, and picking out a movie was part of the date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So what kind of characters did you have coming into your video store, Ben?
Well, just like any other public place, you've got everything from quiet, reserved people to absolute lunatics. But it was a lot of fun, and we rarely had any problems unless we didn't have a movie someone was looking for. They weren't
That's
too
when the
terribly
lunatics
happy.
came out.
That's when the lunatics came out.
They'd be like, hey, hold on. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. Get that movie now.
That's right. Don't you have menace to society? And it's like, man, we did, and it's not back, and I don't know what to do.
Then they start throwing everything on the ground.
That's right. That's right. Have you tried Super Mario? I came across VCRs very innocently enough, my second year in college, and I had a friend say, hey, man, did you know that you can rent movies that you want to see and watch them at your leisure? And I thought, oh, my God, that's the greatest thing that's ever been invented or ever will be invented. So I run down to the nearest drugstore. There were no video stores at the time. And my local drugstore downtown had about 50 movies or so, which is laughable now, but I was so pleased. And I rented this little VCR. It came in a plastic encrusted case that you could drop off the Empire State Building. It was, it had a briefcase handle, and you could barely access the port to put in the tape. And there was just a couple openings in the back to plug up your RCA plugs. For those of you who remember the last century, the first time I ever saw anything like that was in the late 70s. A friend of mine had a disc. It was it looked like an LP, a record disc.
A laser disc.
Okay.
It was a laser disc, exactly. And I recall him calling out the price for that. This wasn't something that the average bear could do. But then not too terribly long after that, the VHS came out with the intent of you being able to record television.
That's right. When VHS was first made available to the public, it was all about recording television. It was amazing to be able to watch one program and record another program at the same time. That's really what it was all about for a while. And people forked up a lot of money
just to be able to record something.
just to be able to watch The Love Boat and record Kojak at the same time.
Yeah, I guess it gives you flexibility in your days.
It sure does. And it also was an amazing thing for people who worked the night shift.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, television was all about appointment viewing. So what if you worked the night shift and you couldn't watch prime time? If you're not there in front of that television, you're going to miss that show. So it was an amazing thing to be able to do that. And it was all about that. Now, what happened is the studios and the television stations who made their money off of advertising, they weren't crazy about consumers being able to record television shows and movies and rewatch them.
They really weren't crazy.
They were not crazy about it.
So not crazy that they sued.
They sure did. They sued. And this was in the mid-70s when they came out. Now, they were in the courts, I believe, for about a decade because in 1984, the Supreme Court ruled that no, it is not illegal to record Kojak while you are watching The Love Boat. How in the heck could we enforce that otherwise?
Exactly. There are too many people at that point had probably bought VCRs.
A lot. A gazillion, I believe.
Yeah, they're going to go into everyone's home and look to see what they recorded and then...
That's right. 1 gazillion
put them in jail?
households. Now, after the Supreme Court ruled that you could record whatever you wanted to off the television, that's when the studios got involved and started releasing movies on VCRs.
And it probably did them well.
It kind of did them well if they weren't charging $100,000 per movie.
True.
$100,000, Marlowe.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So some business owners got the idea that they would invest the $100,000 per movie and then just rent the movies.
See, that's reasonable.
That makes sense. And that's when they started the video stores. Hey, Ben.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember that store, Blockbuster?
I do recall Blockbusters, absolutely.
Remember that? They used to rent videos?
I do recall.
Do you have fond memories of Blockbuster or do you have mixed memories about Blockbuster?
Blockbuster to me was a last case scenario. I always wanted to give my business to the mom and pop organizations.
Sure.
They had fewer rules. Less rules is mo better.
Well, Marlowe and I have recently watched this documentary called The Last Blockbuster, and we watched it on Netflix.
How was it, buddy?
It was a pretty good documentary, pretty lighthearted. It was mostly about the Blockbuster that is still in existence in Bend, Oregon, years and years after Blockbuster gave up the ghost. And it also tells a bit about the history of Blockbuster. Now, Marlowe, as I recall, Blockbuster has been around for about 200 or 300 years. Is that right?
Well, the first Blockbuster came out in 1985.
1985?
Yes.
I was totally off.
Very off. Yeah.
That's 1 year after the Supreme Court said it was okay to record your television set. So when was the peak of its success?
In 2004 was the peak of its success. And there were over 9,000 stores.
9,000.
Every 24 hours, a new Blockbuster was being created.
Holy smoke.
Isn't that crazy?
And there's only one now.
Only one now.
Right.
All those 9,000 stores just vanished.
The rise and fall of Blockbuster.
I know.
Ben, how did the success of Blockbuster affect the mom and pop shop that you worked at?
Just like any other business where the big boys move in, Walmart put out mom and pop businesses. Sure. Blockbuster did the very same to us. They had more movies. They could purchase more movies. They just had more money behind them. We could not compete from a financial standpoint. We just couldn't do much about that.
Not only did Blockbuster have more money behind it because it had so many stores and it was selling franchises every 24 hours, but it also paid a tiny fraction for the movies compared to the mom and pops and the local video stores. The death blow came when Blockbuster made some deals with the Hollywood studios to participate in some profit sharing. So they were able to get these movies for about $5 each, and they would share the revenue from the rentals with the studios.
And that's way less than what mom and pops were having.
The mom and
being
pops
charged.
were still paying $100,000 for each movie per tape.
It's crazy.
So the local video stores just could not compete with that. And so Blockbuster effectively ran them out of business. Blockbuster even got ruthless and would buy out local video stores or else run them out of town. They would give them a choice. You got to go back to the Old West to find that kind of treachery. That's when Bad Bart comes to town and says, I'm taking over your farms. And they're like, no, this is my farmstead. And he's like, not anymore. Would either of you like to learn the definition of irony? I've got it. I happen to have the definition of irony if anyone's interested in learning what that means.
I can't say a word. I'm
on the edge of my seat.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
Well, buckle up because here it comes. The definition of irony. Irony is when Netflix comes to big old Blockbuster and offers to sell itself to them for $50 million. The young Netflix, when they're still just mailing discs to people around the country, and Blockbuster just gives them the hi-hat.
Says, no, that's a dumb idea. That's kind of what they thought.
Turns their nose.
That's like 50 videos. No, we're not doing that.
Exactly.
Right.
They're like, Netflix? Huh?
And so Blockbuster turned Netflix down. You know what? After that meeting, Netflix was walking back to the parking garage where where his car's parked there.
One of these days.
And he's like, one of these days, they're going to pay. They're going to pay for humiliating me in that office, telling me how silly my Netflix idea was.
And they got their day.
And they killed Blockbuster. Killed them. Stomped on them.
Dang.
Stomped on them.
Kicked them even.
That ain't right.
Murdered them. It was a brutal mess.
Yeah.
It was a big, bad mess. So there you go. That's called irony, folks.
And to add on to that
Absolutely.
irony, I mean, Netflix recently came out with the Netflix original called Blockbuster about the last Blockbuster.
That's right.
That is
Here's
ironic.
a picture of your dead corpse.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about that show.
So it's set in 2022, and it's just about the last Blockbuster. And it's just their daily life trying to deal with being the last Blockbuster. The downside of that is that they have a modern take to it. And I think that a lot of the people
it sounds like they missed the opportunity to dip into the nostalgia.
Exactly.
I think the nostalgia of that, if they could have harkened back to the days when you were a small child coming in and picking out, Jurassic Park, and I think it would have been more successful. But there you go.
Yeah.
They are asking us to care that they are barely still around. Characters who are trying to hang on to this sense of community that was created when Blockbuster came out. However, I can't get this image of poor Ben sitting on the corner in the rain, with his broken umbrella, right? with the sitting in front of the strip mall with the for rent sign on the door.
That's right.
So
Going
you
out of
can't
business.
feel too bad about them because they took something away from that community.
But yeah, they done me wrong.
They done, they did you wrong. They sure
right.
did you wrong. Let me tell you what would have been a much better series for Netflix. In fact, Netflix, listen up.
This is the next Netflix original.
This is the next Netflix original. It's called Ben's Video Store. That's the name of the new series. All right.
I think it has potential.
Ben's excited about it. Now, this is set in the mid 90s. All right. So
Where
this
it should have been.
where the series should have been set in the beginning. So this is set in the mid 90s, and Blockbuster is really creating some distress for a lot of the local video stores.
They're the villain instead of the protagonist.
Blockbuster is the villain instead of the protagonist. That's for sure. That's great. All right. It's called Ben's Video Store. Let's do the first scene. Okay, Ben, I'm going to be the manager. All right. I'm going to be both mom and pop. Okay. All right, Ben, we just can't afford every movie that you want. So what are some of the movies that you would like here in 1994?
Well, boss, we've got to get something that the people like. You know, this Jurassic Park is flying off the shelf, and When Harry Met Sally is doing quite well. Maybe stock up on those.
That's great, but they are $100,000 each, Ben. I only have $300,000 to spend.
Okay, but you still have that kidney, right?
I know Blockbuster is just killing us. They're getting these movies for, I don't know how they're getting them. So which is better, Ben? I can probably get 9 old movies, right? Or I can get 3 new releases. What should we do? That's my choice.
It is so sad, but you're going to have to go with the 3 new releases because that's what people are going to be looking for.
Marlowe, this is scene 2. I'm casting you as the customer coming in to get a recommendation from Ben at Ben's Video Store.
Okay. Hi, I'm trying to look for an action movie. Do you have any recommendations?
Yes, ma'am. Welcome to Ben's Video Store. We're so glad you chose us.
Thank you.
We know you have choices in video stores. We appreciate you choosing Ben's. Action movie? It's a no-brainer. Die Hard.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
It is a fantastic movie. Bruce Willis falls off of buildings, pushes other people off of buildings. Buildings blow up. It is spectacular action.
Well, I'm trying to find a movie to watch with me and my boyfriend. Do you have any romance movies?
You know, we absolutely do. You're probably looking for something like Die Hard. Guy flies all the way. I'll tell you. Guy flies from the other side of the nation just to be with his ex-wife for Christmas to see if they can put their broken relationship back together.
Oh, okay. That sounds like something that could work.
It's heartwarming.
And Christmas is actually coming up soon. Do you have any holiday movies?
You know, we really do. We've got a large selection of holiday movies. I think there'll be something here for everyone and something that you can particularly enjoy.
Oh, great.
Have you thought about watching Die Hard?
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
What? Why?
Yes. Because it is set in and around a holiday party that gets taken over by terrorists, but it's our holiday up until, terrorists.
I did not know that. Okay.
A lot of people don't.
Wow, I'm so glad to have someone that that knows a lot about movies. My last recommendation that I need, I'm looking for something to watch with my students in class, or like something that's family friendly, like some young kids. Do you have any recommendations?
You know what? If I had to pick one movie for that type of group, something that they would all enjoy and get into, I would have to recommend without any hesitation, Die Hard.
Oh, what? Why?
Because it has everything that a kid loves. Boom, smash, twinkle, zowie, pang, pow. There's even some yippee-ki-yay stuff in there that they're not supposed to hear. So, the kids are going to go, wow, Miss Marlowe, this is the bee's knees.
Yeah, I might need to get that approved from my principal, but that sounds like a good idea.
I think your principal will love it. Isn't that right, Mr. Mom Pop?
You betcha britches it is, Benny boy. Ben, get this young lady her 4 copies of Die Hard and get her out of here.
Here you are, ma'am. Here's your 4 copies of Die Hard.
You're holding up the line.
And please remember that Die Hard 2 is coming out soon.
Now, that is a much better series than what was on Netflix, right?
Yeah,
Already.
it is. That way better.
Hey.
I laughed more than I did in the show.
Well, Netflix, you're welcome. You're very, 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 very welcome. Ben, let me ask you, do you remember the drive-in movie theaters growing up?
with absolutely with the fondest of memories.
Tell me about that. Tell me about how you went to the drive-in movie theater?
In my town, not too far away, about 30-minute drive, we had a drive-in, and they would show 2 modern movies. I saw, so many good movies there. We thoroughly enjoyed going to the drive-in movie, but man, we're kids. We've just had enough money cutting lawns and stuff, so things were tough. So unfortunately, we smuggled people in, just like you hear in the myths and the tales of old.
That's right.
We absolutely did that. I would open up the trunk and I would put my friends in there, and if only one person came to the drive-thru, it was like $3. If you had a carload, it was $5. Now, in retrospect, understanding how businesses works now, I sincerely wish that I had given those folks the $5 for the absolute joy that they gave me. But no, we did everything we could to undermine a fantastic thing, and I regret it now. But it was magic.
The drive-in movie theater was the place where you could go and watch the exploitation movies and horror movies, extreme violence and action films, a lot of stuff that you couldn't see in the mainstream theaters or definitely on television. We had just a few television stations, broadcast stations. They were censored for sure.
Yeah.
You didn't see any serious violence or hear any profanity or
not like you do now.
Very
on
little
TV.
sex, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to hear someone drop an F-bomb or see someone take their clothes off or see someone beat someone else up to a bloody pulp, you went to the drive-in movie theaters to see that.
Sounds like a grand old time.
That was a big reason.
It really was. And they would cut things so badly oftentimes on television, too. They would put in a word that didn't even work, and you'd just be thinking, how stupid is this?
Oh.
This fancy guy right here. Fancy? You mother fancy? It's like,
Right,
what?
that's right. I wanted to tell you guys about another TV series I wanted to pitch to Netflix in case they didn't like the Ben's Video Store.
I'm up for it.
Idea. You
Which is insane, but okay.
Right. Yeah, how could they not like that? Just in case Netflix passes on Ben's Video Store sitcom, I have another series that I would like to pitch to Netflix. This one's a drama, and let me set it up for you.
Okay.
It's about a married couple, and they've saved up all their money to open up a drive-in movie theater so that they could show all the violent and sexy and profane movies that the community was asking for, right? And so they opened up this drive-in movie theater, and everything is fantastic for a while, and the community really responds. Turns out the community wants to hear the F-bomb, and they want to see people take off their clothes, and they want to see people beat each other up to a bloody pulp.
Who would have thought?
It was a success. And then the villain comes into the scene. The villain, his name is Ben.
I hate that guy. He owes me money.
And Ben is the same kid. He used to sneak in his buddies and friends to the drive-in movie theater. So this is the same kid, but he grows up and he buys Ben's Video Store.
Bum, bum, bum.
And then Ben's the villain of that series. So Ben, you're not the sympathetic character who's crying at the curb in the rain because your video store got run out of town by Blockbuster anymore. Now you're the bad guy.
The guy was making me sick anyway with his whiny attitude.
Now you're the bad guy who's running the nice couple out of town and making them turn their drive-in movie theater into a soybean field. That's how that story ends. So the culture and technology will always be replaced by new culture and new technology. One good idea is going to get replaced by another great idea, and then that idea is going to get pooped all over and get replaced with another idea. And that idea is going to be really cool for a while until all of a sudden it is totally not cool.
So I wonder what's going to happen after Netflix.
Remember that scene in the first Star Wars where they're like playing that game? And
holographic chess?
That's it. Holographic chess is the next thing. It's the next big thing.
Oh.
Holographic.
I'm with you, man. I think 3D, they're working on these 3D games. I will not be surprised that if fairly soon there won't be movies that you can interact inside of and touch things and pick up. And I'd like to think that's where it's going, and I'm particularly excited about that.
It
I
is
think
kind of
that's gonna be
exciting.
super-
That's a good mindset to have.
I think they should bring smell-o-vision back. Smell-o-vision or odorama.
Is this some William Castle stuff?
Yeah, I want to be able to smell my movies. That would be
I don't
really-
know. Tonight on Burnt Hair.
That's right. Ben, it has been so much fun talking
really
to you about
has.
this subject. I'm glad you
Oh,
were
thank you.
available.
Thank you for giving me a call, brother. It's so good to hear from you, and it's just so great to hear from you and Marlowe. Fantastic.
So, Ben, do you have any recommendations for movies now?
Absolutely, brother. There has been so many movies that have come out. Fantastic stuff. Things that'll take you to a place of action, wonderment, romance. I recommend Die Hard.
All right. Well, Ben, I think we're going to give Die Hard a try. We're going to watch it right now. And we really...
You will not be sorry. You will thank me.
We really, really, really appreciate that recommendation.
thank
you
you.
so much. We will have a conversation again in the future. I believe that. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I could see that.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I could see that.
Ben, we're going to have you on the show again.
Yes.
And we will talk about something fun, and we really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you
Hey,
so
no
much.
thing, brother. Love you guys, and can't wait to talk to you again.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.
Lunavox. That's the name we came up with.